Welcome to my new video. Today, we are going to discuss the checklist for secretarial audit. Secretarial audit is an important governance measure that ensures a company complies with all relevant laws, rules, and regulations. In this video, we will cover its applicability, key requirements, and why it is essential for corporate compliance. So stay tuned till the end to get all the important details. Checklist for secretarial audit. Secretarial audit, a governance measure that will have a positive effect on corporate entity. It is a compliance audit system that used to carrying out auditing of compliances, along with all rules and regulation made thereunder. It is a process to check compliances made by the company under various law, rules, regulation, and procedure. According to Section 204 of Companies Act, 2013 and Rule 9 of Companies, Appointment and Remuneration of Managerial Personnel, Rules 2014, company required to obtain secretarial audit report from independent practicing company secretary. A. All listed company, and B. Every public company having paid up share capital of 50 crore or more, or C. Every public company having a turnover of Rs. 250 crore or more, or D. Every company having outstanding loans or borrowings from banks or public financial institutions of 100 crore rupees or more. For more detailed information, visit the official website of VMK Professionals www.vmkpros.com, and always review the latest amendments before execution, as laws keep changing frequently. Recent amendment format for annual secretarial audit report and annual secretarial compliance report for listed entities and their material subsidiaries. Secretarial audit to be made compulsory for all listed entities under the CB Listing Obligations and Disclosure Requirements Regulations 2015 by a peer-reviewed company secretary in line with the provisions of the Companies Act 2013. Secretarial audit to be extended to all material unlisted Indian subsidiaries in line with the recommendations of the Committee on Strengthening Group Oversight and Improving Compliance at a group level for listed entities. The aforesaid recommendations were accepted, and in order to implement the same, the CB Listing Obligations and Disclosure Requirements Regulations 2015 have been amended to include the following Regulation 24A. Regulation 24A. Every listed entity and its material unlisted subsidiaries incorporated in India shall undertake secretarial audit by a secretarial auditor who shall be a peer-reviewed company secretary and shall annex a secretarial audit report in such form as specified with the annual report of the listed entity. Explanation. I. Secretarial auditor means a company secretary in practice, or a firm of company secretaries in practice appointed to conduct the secretarial audit. T. Peer-reviewed company secretary means a company secretary in practice who is either practicing individually or as a sole proprietor or as a partner of a peer-reviewed practice unit holding a valid certificate of peer review issued by the Institute of Company Secretaries of India. On the basis of recommendation of Board of Directors, a listed entity shall appoint or reappoint I, an individual as secretarial auditor for not more than one term of 5 consecutive years, or E, a secretarial audit firm as secretarial auditor for not more than 2 terms of 5 consecutive years, with the approval of its shareholders in its annual general meeting. Accordingly, the following shall be complied with by a listed entity and its material unlisted subsidiaries as applicable. A. Annual Secretarial Audit Report. 1. Currently, Section 204 of the Companies Act 2013, read with Rule 9 of the Companies Appointment and Remuneration of Managerial Personnel Rules 2014, requires secretarial audit by peer-reviewed company secretary for listed companies and certain unlisted companies above a certain threshold in Form No. MR3. 2. In order to avoid duplication, the listed entity and its unlisted material subsidiaries shall continue to use the same Form No. MR3 as required under Companies Act 2013 and the rules made thereunder for the purpose of compliance with Regulation 24A of CB, Listing Obligations and Disclosure Requirements Regulations 2015 as well. B. Annual Secretarial Compliance Report. 1. The annual secretarial audit shall cover a broad check on compliance with all laws applicable to the entity. Listed entities shall additionally, on an annual basis, require a check by the PCS on compliance of all applicable CB regulations and circulars guidelines issued thereunder, consequent to which the PCS shall submit a report to the listed entity in the manner specified in this circular. Number 2, the format for the annual secretarial compliance report is placed at Annex A. 3. The annual secretarial compliance report in the aforesaid format shall be submitted by the listed entity to the stock exchanges within 60 days of the end of the financial year. 4. The listed entities and their material subsidiaries shall provide all such documents information as may be sought by the PCS for the purpose of providing a certification under the regulations and this circular. 5. ICSI may consider issuing a guidance note to practicing company secretaries to enable them to undertake certifications in accordance with the regulations, and this circular in letter and in spirit. 6. The stock exchanges are advised to bring the provisions of this circular to notice of the listed entities and also to disseminate on their websites. This circular shall come into force as under A. With respect to the annual secretarial audit report, in the annual reports of the listed entities and the material unlisted subsidiaries from the financial year ended March 31, 2019 onwards. B. With respect to the annual secretarial compliance report, applicable to listed entities, with effect from the financial year ended March 31 onwards. The circular is issued in exercise of the powers conferred under Sections 11 and 11A of the Securities and Exchange Board of India Act, 1992, read with Regulations 24A and 101 of CB, Listing Obligations and Disclosure Requirements, Regulations 2015. The circular is available on CB website. The listed entity shall ensure that with effect from April 1, 2025, the secretarial compliance report submitted to the stock exchange on annual basis is signed only by the secretarial auditor or by a peer-reviewed company secretary who satisfies the conditions mentioned in sub-regulations and 1B of this Regulation 24A. The following regulations and guidelines prescribed under the Securities and Exchange Board of India Act, 1992, the CB, Substantial Acquisition of Shares and Takeovers Regulations, 2011. The CB, Prohibition of Insider Trading Regulations, 1992. The CB, Issue of Capital and Disclosure Requirements Regulations, 2009. The CB, ESOS and ESPS Guidelines, 1999. The CB, Issue and Listing of Debt Securities Regulations, 2009. The CB, Buyback of Securities Regulations, 1998. For more detailed information, visit the official website of VMK Professionals, www.vmkpros.com, and always review the latest amendments before execution, as laws keep changing frequently. Compliances under Companies Act 2013, General Compliances 1. Whether company has kept and maintained all statutory registers, filed all forms, return and notices to respective authorities as per Companies Act 2013. 2. Whether company follow all requirements of the Act and provisions of MOA and AOA services related to listed companies. 1. Conducting audit for reconciliation of share capital and providing report thereon. 2. Corporate governance report. 3. Developing risk management framework, its reporting and implementation. 4. Developing the framework for periodic reporting requirements. 5. Ensuring compliance with the board and audit committee related procedures. 6. Ensuring legal compliance with respect to the applicable provisions. 7. Formulating and implementing the code of conduct and whistleblower policy. 8. Formulating, strengthening, and implementing internal control measures. 9. Preparing documentation and liaisoning with stock exchanges for listing of securities. 10. Providing support required by the auditors for certificate of compliance of Clause 49 of listing agreements. Details of documents to be checked, register and records. 1. Register and index of members. 2. Register and index of debenture holders. 3. Foreign registers of members of debenture holders. 4. Registers and returns. 5. Minutes book of meetings. 6. Minutes book of class meeting, creditors meeting. 7. Register of investments. 8. Register of deposits. 9. Register of charges creation. 10. Books of accounts and cost records. 11. Register of contracts. 12. 12. Register of Directors, MD, Manager, and Secretary. 13. Register of Directors shareholding. 14. Register of Investments, loans made, guarantee given, or security provided. 15. Register of renewed and duplicate certificates. 16. Register of Directors attendance. 17. Register of shareholders attendance. 18. Register of proxies. 19. Register of transfer. 20. Register of fixed assets. 21. Register of debenture holders. Returns to be checked. 1. Annual returns. 2. Annual accounts, balance sheet and profit and loss account. 3. Return of allotment. 4. Notice of change in situation of registered office. 5. Court or CLB order. 6. Return of appointment of MD WTD manager. 7. Return of deposits. 8. Registration of resolutions and agreements. 9. Registration of creation, modification, satisfaction of charge, meetings to be checked. 1. Board of Directors meetings, as per Section 173 of Companies Act, 2013. Extraordinary General Meeting, as per Section 100 of Companies Act, 2013. 3. Annual General Meeting, as per Section 96 of Companies Act, 2013. 4. Committee meetings duly convened as per provisions of Companies Act, 2013. 5. Minutes of all meetings maintained as per Section 118 of Companies Act, 2013. 6. Proof of dispatch of notices to members, directors as per respective provisions of Companies Act, 2013. Check whether company has filed the following documents: MGT 14 within 30 days of passing special resolutions, board resolutions, as the case may be. 1. To make political contributions. 2. To diversify the business of the company. 3. To approve merger, amalgamation, or reconstruction. 4. To take over of the company. 5. To appoint Secretarial Auditor, Section 204 of Companies Act, 2013. 6. To appoint Internal Auditor, Section 138 of Companies Act, 2013. 7. To invest the fund of company under Section 186 of Companies Act, 2013. 8. To approve financial statement and board's report. 9. To appoint or remove KMP, defined under Section 251 of the Companies Act, 2013. 10. To issue securities including debenture by letter of offer. 11. To borrow monies from any sources including directors. 12. To authorize buyback of securities under Section 68. For appointment of director under Section 152 of Companies Act, 2013. Invitation given to member for deposit as per Section 73 of Companies Act, 2013. Appointment of small shareholder director, Section 151. Appointment of independent director. Issue of bonus shares. Change of the name of the company. Conversion of private company into OPC. Approve the any scheme for giving loan to MDWTD under Section 185. Loan or investment by company exceeding the limit under Section 186 of the Companies Act. 2013 Special Resolution for winding of the company. Appoint managerial personnel exceeding the age of 70 years. Remuneration to managerial personnel in case of inadequacy of profit, A per Schedule V resolutions under Section 180A, B, and C of the Companies Act. 2013 Reappointment of independent director for keeping of the register any other place in India. For reduction of share capital as per Section 66, issue of sweat equity share as per Section 54, private placement of securities, conversion of Section 8 company in any other kinds or alteration of its MOA, change of its registered office under Section 12 and 13 of Companies Act, 2013. For buyback of share as per Section 68. For more detailed information, visit the official website of vmkprofessionals.vmpros.com. And always review the latest amendments before execution, as laws keep changing frequently. PS3, file return of allotment in within 30 days of allotment of share with ROCSH-11. File returns in respect of buyback of securities DPT3. File form for return of deposit. CHG1 file in case of application for registration of creation modification of charge within 30 days of its creation. CHG4 particular for satisfaction of charge in form no filed with ROCHG8. For condonation of delay in filing of charges has been made to CG in form no MGT7 whether annual return filed with ROC within 60 days of its AGM AOC2, whether company maintained for related party disclosure ADT1, whether company file within 30 days of appointment of auditors ADT2, whether application has been made to CG in for removal of auditors. DIR2, whether company received consent to act as a director. D12, whether company filed particular for appointment of director, KMP, and changes among them, with ROC within 30 days of appointment or changes. DIR11, whether filed with ROC within 30 days of its resignation. MBP2, whether company maintain register of loans and investment. MBP1, whether company receive nature of interest from all director in its first BM of financial year. MBP4, whether company maintain register of contract and arrangement in which director are interested. MR1, whether company file with ROC within 30 days of appointment of MDWTD manager, copies of endorsed share certificates and other securities, transfer deeds and transmission request letters, etc. Declaration, payment and transfer of dividend board's report, transfer of unpaid amounts to the IEPF. Check whether the company's securities are already listed on a stock exchange. Check whether the company has issued shares, debentures, or bonds to the public. If yes, whether an application for this purpose to the stock exchange has been made, along with the documents and particulars mentioned in Rule 19.1 of the Securities Contracts Regulation, Rules 1957. Has the listing agreement been finalized and approved by the company's board and executed with the stock exchange concerned? In case any conditions have been imposed by the stock exchange, have those restrictions or conditions been incorporated in the agreement? Whether listing was done within the statutory time limit. Where permission for listing has been refused by the stock exchange, whether appeal was filed. What is the outcome of the appeal? Whether all terms and conditions of the listing agreement have been complied with. That's it for this video. We hope you learned something new about secretarial audit and its applicability. Let us know in the comments about your experience or if you have any questions. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more informative content. See you in the next one.